All right, what's up, everyone? My name is Ryan, and I am the founder and CEO here at Sell That Option. Thank you for taking a look at one of our daily recap videos. So, as you all know, or are going to find out, I send a daily recap video every single day whenever we make a trade here at Sell That Option to our members. The reason that I do this is I believe that getting into the mindset of somebody that can successfully trade is so incredibly important. Right? We know that when you can get inside of someone's head that figured it out, you can truly get into a state where you begin to think similarly or understand something similarly. And so that's what I try to do, right? I try to, every single day, help members understand why I made the trades I do. So if you ever do decide to become a member here at Sell That Option, what you'll do is you'll come in here, you'll go to the members, and you will get into the daily recap videos. Now, these daily recap videos, the most recent one is right here, right? And so you just go in, you sign into your portal here at sellthatoption.com, and then you just click play, and then you can see exactly the trade that I made and why I made that trade, and any particular things that were important for us as we go through thinking about our trading. So without further ado, take a look at the daily recap video that you have selected. If you ever have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me at Ryan, R-Y-A-N, at sellthatoption.com. And as always, stay humble, stay hungry, and here's to our success. Hey everyone, what's up? Today is November the 20th. It's a Tuesday, 2018. What a day. All right, so we were super active today with 7 different trades that we're going to go over today. As you can see, we did everything from beginning to build out our January portfolio, which is a little early, right? It's a little early, but as we're going to talk about today, when we have days like today in which our implied volatility levels are just so elevated, let me actually bring that all the way out. When our implied volatility levels are so elevated, we have to take advantage of days like today. We went small, okay, and we're going to talk about this. We went small in all of our positions so we could ladder into other positions later, okay? So we're going to talk about that. There's going to be a number of video lessons that are going to come out of today that I'm going to work on this evening. But first, let us get to these trades. All right. Great. Okay, so we have SMH. We did 2 strangles here at the 100 call and 76 put. We did a neutral iron butterfly over XLE at 65. We did a very tight strangle, which is synthetically a straddle here in emerging markets EEM. We got into an initial position in China here at the 40 column put. XBI, the Spiders Biotech ETF, and then we adjusted twice in USO. Y'all, USO, at this point, I am simply looking to manage some losses here. I'm going to lose on the month here in USO, and full disclosure, I traded this pretty poorly. So we're going to take a look here at all of these. So let's go into our Analyze tab. We're going to start here with XLE. Okay, so as you can see here, XLE really nicely centered over the market for January right now. Let's change our slices. Then we're also going to change here. We're going to go expiration date. Okay, so we're right at a 50-50% chance, but we know with early management, we're actually going to have a little bit better of a shot. We got a huge credit, so we got $5, so really almost 10% on either way, right? So we can go 10% on either way and still probably make some money on this trade. Feel really good about this initial position here in XLE. XLE had an IV percentile that was crazy elevated, which is why we did go ahead and jump into it. All right, let's go into SMH. Let us change this from... Okay, so here we are in SMH. So as you can see, we have our strikes. Let's see if I can even get it. So we are so wide that I can't even get it all in on my screen. So we're going to go ahead and just change this, and we'll just create a slice right here and right here. Okay, so what we see here is we see that we are just in a really good spot. Total potential profit 404. We'll try to get $200 out of this trade here. We saw SMH. So interestingly, we saw SMH flirt here, challenging this initial put here in December expiration. So we did see SMH flirting in this little area down here. But by the end of the day, we saw a little bit of a rally here in SMH. I might look to move this strike down here a little bit back to the 15 delta here shortly in the next couple of days, potentially Friday during that half day if liquidity is good. But back to our position here in January, really nicely centered. We got crazy wide break evens. So 4% chance on that side. We have a 13% chance. So we're at a what is that? 83% chance of being profitable on this particular trade. Okay, let's go to EEM. So EEM, our emerging markets, we are in a number of positions here. Total positions, we're really nicely centered over the markets, and so we've got a lot of potential to make some good money. But let's just go to our position that we just added here for January expiration. So as you can see, trading right in between 39 and 40, which is why we went with the synthetic straddle, right? This really tight strangle. Now, if I do a strangle like SMH, I'm going to be looking for 50% profit, right? I'm not taking in as much credit, so I need a larger percentage profit. And I'm also trading really far out of the money. With this, even though both strikes are currently outside of the money, really at the end of the day, it's very likely that one is going to end up in the money, which is why we want to go ahead and take off at 25%. Right? If we were at 38 and 40, right, it wouldn't make any sense. We would just go ahead and do an iron butterfly over 39, right? But since we're right in the middle of these two strikes, we went ahead and just did a really tight strangle. So EEM's right at 39.50, and we go all the way up to 42, almost 43, all the way down to 36. So again, we have plus or minus $3 on either side. That's a 10% move, right? So we can give ourselves 10%, and we can still be right on either side. So EEM looks really good. Of course, we'll look to add here at our break evens. If we don't look to add at our break evens, then that is fine. All right, let's go to China. Okay, so, I went to FXE. Sorry, y'all. Let's go to China. Okay, so China's interesting. We have our position, but let's go to January expiration. Really, again, centered right over the market here. 40, it's actually trading for, what is this, 40.15. Right, we're really looking to be fine. Now, again, we go all the way down 40 to 36. So, again, we're at plus or minus basically 10%. So, we can see a 10% move either way, and we're likely going to be fine. Okay, so FXI looks really good. Okay, and then finally, let's go to XBI, which I actually just sent out the alert for. Okay, XBI, Series 1 from 2. We're just going to do January. Okay, and I am actually really interested to go to our break-even slices. Okay, so we are at 77. We actually, after hours, are trading a little bit more down towards 76. But we're at 77, and our break-even on the put side, right, is 67. Break even on the call side is basically 87. So what does this tell us? We can move $10 in either direction, and we have a chance to be right. Now, it's been volatile, right? It's been volatile. Our December position, let's just bring up our December position. So our December position, we have strikes at 83 and 78. So there's $5 worth of difference. So it is volatile right now. However, what we do is we just continue to move with the market. We're small, right? So one of the things, we're 59 days out from January expiration. It's going to go fast, right? It's going to go fast. But what we know here is that we have to ladder into these positions. Now, if I just went all in and sold 10 contracts, right, that would be really just dumb. The beauty of this system, right, the beauty of our system here is we have the ability to ladder into a position. So we're at, let's just go back here. we're at 77, right? So we're at 77, and we see that it goes to 68. So we ladder into a position there, right? It's still within our break evens. And what we do is we basically move our break even on this side down, right? Because that's where the market moves, and we'll throw it out here, right? And so let's say we center it over 69, which is where we decide that we want to add. What we would do is we would throw out our break evens further on this side. If we end up laddering into a position here, I'll absolutely be sure to talk this through and make sure that we understand exactly what's going on here when we move and we ladder into positions, because it gives us a better chance to be right? The further out we are, we get a further out break evens, right? The larger of a percent chance that we have to make money on this trade. And what we're doing is we're just looking for small little bits of profit and small little bits of probability percentages to go our way. So what we're doing, we're really just trying to stay within these break evens here. Okay, let's go to USO. All right, USO is ugly. All right, full disclosure, USO is ugly. We saw, so USO had been flirting back in this range and just bam, kind of really destroyed us here, throwing all the way down to 11.28. So at this point, we are so far. We have a short strike right here at 15. We're so far beyond that short strike right now. It's totally off the table that what we're going to do is we are just going to go ahead and adjust there. And so we adjusted down to the 11.5 strike right here, as you saw, and took in an additional dollar worth of credit. So we're really just looking to add a little bit of credit, lower the break evens a little bit, or widen the break evens out a little bit. Certainly not ideal, right? USO has not been ideal, but we can really minimize these losses here. And so what I'll do is I'm going to try to minimize these losses throughout the rest of the expiration period and get us as close to break even as possible. Okay, so let's talk about the day. This is important. One of the things that you'll notice, and actually let's just go back to the Analyze tab. Let's bring up, I really like EEM. Okay, so here we are at EEM. Okay, let's go back to just this. Okay, so one of the things that you'll notice with EEM is that this blue or purple line has done a lot of moving, okay? And so EEM, the purple line earlier in the week, was a little bit further along up here, closer to the blue line. And so you might be like, why did the purple line move down? And how come, even though time decay has went in our favor, right? So we're further in. We're actually up less right now on this position than we were, because right now I'm only up $97 or about $100 on this position. So what happened is we saw an increase in implied volatility, right? And so when we see an increase in implied volatility, option prices they're worth more. And so because these options are worth more, what we know, and since we sold them, right, we sold them into the market, we know now that it's going to look like we are less profitable. However, let's go ahead and do something really, really cool. Okay, so by the end of expiration, so in a month, today's the 20th, we have a 21st expiration, so that Friday is going to be the 20th. Watch what happens. So we continue to eke that time decay, right, until we get to the point where we're solid. Now, what does this mean? It means that we just have to stay the course. Okay, it means that we're not being challenged on our break evens, right? So we're not being challenged here. We're not being challenged here. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what happens in between here. It doesn't matter what happens with implied volatility to a certain extent. Now, up here, if you're looking at your buying power, if you're naked, right, if you don't have protection on your long strikes, which is why every alert that I'm going to send is saying, hey, Iron Butterfly or Iron Condor traders, you need, if you don't have that large of an account, or if you need to stay protected, go ahead and get that protection because something happens, right? When implied volatility increases, for those of us that don't have protection on those wide wings, and so we're either a straddle instead of an iron butterfly or a strangle instead of an iron condor, what will end up happening, right, is if we're naked, the cost to hold these positions goes up, right? And so let's just throw out some very basic numbers. Let's say I was up $200 here on this position, and now I'm up $100, even though nothing happened except implied volatility went up. Perhaps the cost for me to hold this position before was $2,000. Okay, so I needed $2,000 worth of option buying power in order to hold this position. Now, if implied volatility pops, what'll happen is the amount that I have to have in order to hold this position is going to go up. Right, so now let's say, and I could go through and actually take a look, but let's just, for the sake of the argument here, let's say that now it costs us $4,000 to hold this position if we're naked. If you're an iron butterfly, it doesn't change. Right, if it costs $1,800 to hold the position the first time, it's going to cost $1,800 now. If it's costing $3,600, it's going to be $36 now. However, if we're naked, the cost to hold the position goes up, and so we need to have that buying power to be able to hold these positions, right? Because nothing's happened here in EEM, right? We're still sitting really nicely. If this was expiration, we'd hit our max profit, right? Which is awesome. It's where we want to be. Literally, almost everything except a couple of puts would expire worthless, right? And so we hit our max profit, which is awesome. However, if we don't have enough buying power and we're naked, then we might get forced out of these positions, and that's not good because this position is very likely going to be profitable, right? We're at a 62.73% chance of this position being profitable for us. However, if we don't have the buying power, we don't have the account, and we're naked, right, then we're going to get forced out of this position, and that's garbage. That's not great. And so we need to either you're going to need to understand what your account can hold. If we see a pop in implied volatility, the cost to hold your positions is going to go up unless you're in an iron condor and an iron butterfly, or if you're directional, a vertical. Right. However, if we're naked, then that's not going to be the case. And I know I'm belaboring this point, but it's so important because one of the things that's incredibly frustrating, right, is let's say the line, because implied volatility popped, right? We're still here. We're still here at 39.50, but this is now, right, where my little pointer is. And so now we're down $1,000, which is fine, right? Which is fine because all that matters is that we're between our strikes. But if we're down $1,000, now we're going to get forced out of the position for a loss, and that's utterly totally avoidable, totally avoidable for us. And so you got to know, you have to understand what's going on with your buying power. You have to understand what's going on with the position, and you gotta understand what's going on with implied volatility. That's why very recently I've been sending quite a lot of information and really, again, belaboring the point for you to develop your own watch list with implied volatility as part of that watch list in your market watch tab, so you know exactly what's going on, so you can disseminate that information at the drop of a at the drop of a pen or at the drop of a hat. That way you know, and you can begin to trade for yourself. Right, all of these decisions take me minutes to make. You can get there too, right? You can get there and you can know exactly what's going on with all of the positions and all of these ETFs because the system works. Now, on the flip side of this, right, the logical next step is that if implied volatility pops and options are all of a sudden worth so much more, that means we need to be selling those options into the market, right? We go back to XBI. So let's go back to XBI. Here we go. On a regular day, we might have got, rather than $9.45 worth of credit, we might have got, I don't know, $6 worth of credit. But because options were worth more, we can go ahead and get a larger credit for that. And that's where this system, right? That's why we look at implied volatility really as that first step in us figuring out what it is that we want. larger implied volatility, we want to get in because those options are going to be worth more. All right, I know this has been an incredibly long daily recap, but there was so much here today, right? Not only did we do 7 different trades, 2 adjustments, and then a number of opening trades for January, which also, y'all, by the way, we are doing January expiration. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy for 2019. But there was also a really good learning opportunity for us to talk about here. Okay, if you have any questions at all about this incredibly lengthy daily recap, please feel free to reach out to me at Ryan, RYAN, at sellthatoption.com. Otherwise, as always, stay humble, stay hungry, and here's to our success.